Okay, let's talk about lead guitar delay. Now, with lead guitars, I always seem to like to start with if they even call for a delay at all, and a lot of them really do. It's one of those things I'd almost always try without exception, even if I have to use very, very light amounts, or even if I change my mind, but I always try it. And I like synced delays. I like these to be in time, and I always like to start with something like an eighth note or a quarter note, but the problem with those notes sometimes is they're two on delay and they stack, or two on time. They stack right on top of each note. And a way to get around that, and I think I covered that in another video, is off-time delays. And that's fine too. But when you start getting into the fun stuff is when you get the triplet feel kind of thing going, or doing like a sixth of a note. And that's what I'm doing right here with the, however the hell you say this, Kajara's Audio. This is a free delay plugin, and I use it all the time. I really like it. Nothing wrong with this guy at all. All right, so let's hear our guitar solo. It's a little short guy. Lead, I guess maybe we'll call it, with no delay at all. Okay, there's a hair bit of delay, but that was from the actual the track we recorded. Probably use the Axe-Fx for that. So instead, let's now have some fun here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just crank the damn thing pretty much all the way up on an auxiliary send. Okay, and that's already pretty cool. And so how am I doing that? First of all, as I mentioned before, I've got the 1/6 note happening. And that's, well, let's go ahead and change it to a quarter. Let's go to eighth, actually, it'd be better. And listen to how it's not as, I don't know, it's harder to hear, or it stacks on top of itself too much, even kind of muddies things up. Take a listen. To me, it's too much 1984 and not enough 1987, if that makes any sense, when things are a little bit more, I guess, raw. So if we go up to, let's try a quarter note. And again, this is going to be different for every guitar solo, depending on, you know, a trillion different factors. But either way, going through this one is a value, I think. So let's check out the quarter notes. Again, it's not right, it's too long. And so this is why I'm never shy about trying some of these awkward jobberoos. And again, a lot of these have that triplet, but I think it's triplet, or dotted note, that's what it is. See, I don't know anything about music. I'm an engineer. So anyway, we'll go to 1/6 here, and then it'll fall right into place, and it feels exactly how it should, in my opinion. I like everything about that. And while we're here talking about lead guitar delays, one thing I want to talk about is the filtering. And this I've kind of covered in other sections too, but I think for guitars it's very specific. Guitars are already pretty mid-rangey instruments. The odds of them having anything significant, especially lead guitar, like in the 100 hertz range or even up to 10K, is almost non-existent. Maybe you'll have a little bit of 10K, but it's pretty subtle stuff compared to, I don't know, a cymbal or a bright vocal or something. So anyway, what I do with these things, let's hear the delay. I'm going to go ahead and switch this delay to be, this aux in to be pre-fader, so that I can actually kill the volume of the dry signal, so we'll only hear the delay when I solo it. Let's see if that works. Okay, and there it is. There is no real delay or direct guitar signal in there. And remember, delay in its normal state is actually quite, I mean, it would be exactly the same as this, just we could duplicate this and shift it over. I think I've showed that in other videos. All a delay really is doing is taking that identical signal and waiting until later. And so that's why it doesn't sound that much different. But I do have some aggressive filtering on this thing. This classic delay guy has a low cut, which I already have up at 1K. So we're not going to all the low end out the bottom. So let's see what it sounds like without that. And you can hear it on that very first note. Listen to that again. Boom. We have no need for that with the lead guitar. None that I can think of. So it's almost a given with this particular plugin and these kind of tracks, lead guitar tracks. Boom. I just turned it all the way to 1K. Anything past 1K could probably get a little bit too thin. But we also have a high cut. So I'm going to turn it back down. Let's turn the high cut off. And listen to that. And there's definitely some top end going on, particularly with the noise, some of the less than ideal, you know, finger noises and such, which weren't a big deal in the mix, I thought. They're really brought out by that. So that alone is a good reason to knock the top off. But let's hear this in context. Let's see, take a little bit of level adjusting probably. And I'm going to have to turn those down. We'll switch back to that. Okay, we want to hear this top end in context. That's what I'm messing around with here now. Okay, let's listen to that one more time since I was playing with levels so much. Okay, now let's turn it back down to where I had it, which I think was about 4K, and see what it sounds like. And there's not a mega difference there, and if a person was going for that kind of sound, there's a prettier aspect for sure to the leaving the high cut all the way off. However, I like the way that it drew less attention to itself in this particular case. I wanted a delay, but maybe I wanted a delay that was more, I don't know, old school or something like that. More vintagey. I don't know. All those popped in my head, you know, as stupid words that make sense here. So I kind of, I guess, take it, you know, figure that one out yourself on each individual mix, because I'm positive I'm doing another mix, you know, today probably, where I'll just crank the high cut all the way off. But for this, I like it down a little bit. Okay, so just to recap, when we're doing delay for lead guitar, I like sync delays, and I like them to be dotted or 1/6. There's something a little bit oddball so that they stand out sometimes. Again, not always. You always have to play with this, but I never hesitate for even a second to use something weird there. I always use low cut to get that bottom end out. There's no room for it in a delay as far as I'm concerned, unless I'm up to something really specific where I want to somehow thicken up the sound in terms of low end with this delay. And lastly, I'll knock off the high end a lot of times if I want that sound, and I did this case. All right, guys, thanks. Bye.